Welcome to Bible in the Backyard. Here we are on a chilly January morning in the wilderness of our backyard in Jamaica Estates, Queens. Numbers chapter 30. This chapter describes the law, the situation where a young woman or older woman takes a neder, a vow, which can be nullified by her father or her husband, depending upon whose authority or control she's under at any given moment. The chapter also describes and says that a widow or a divorcee, their vow cannot be annulled because they are considered to be autonomous. And I thought there's something interesting in that contrast. It seems to be that this chapter is less about gender per se and perhaps more about authority and control in the context of taking vows and annulling those vows.
I wish I could really agree with you. I think gender and authority are so inextricably connected here that it's really about both. It's obviously about authority and control, but that plays out in gender. There's no law that a father can annul his son's vow, even though there is authority there. So the gender
even his own vow.
Even his own vow, yeah. Well, they're right. The Talmudic law is that you can annul it, but you have to go to another authority. But that means going to a sage. So it's always a matter of authority. So I don't see any way of getting around the gender issue here. The only thing I would say is that the chapter starts off saying that Moses said to the heads of the tribes, "This is the law that God had commanded us." And a number of the commentators, starting with the rabbis of the Midrash, point out that we've never heard that God had commanded this, actually. So they ask, where did you command this? Where did this happen? And there's a number of cases, not a large number, the number of cases where Moses quotes things from God that we never heard earlier. One commentator, the Chizkuni, in 13th century France, says, he lists actually on this chapter a number of those cases and says, what God does is actually fulfills what his servants dictate to him. Which makes it sound like he's understanding that actually it's not so much that God's commanded it as much as that Moshe is now commanding it, and God is going to back up Moses' authority. So it may actually relate to something that we talked about a couple of chapters ago of Moses understanding the people of his generation and reflecting and molding their values. This actually may not be one, to take the phrase that we used a few chapters ago, may not be one of those chapters that was written in the Torah in front of God. But Moses says so, and then according to Chizkuni, God will fulfill what Moses legislates. So it doesn't get us out of the problem, but it does soften it a little bit.
It softens it a bit.
Yeah.
Which is okay. All right, we'll take that.